What's up, everybody? This is my story about how I found the way. So, about 5 years ago, my wife and I had been in prayer about transitioning from my former ministry. Mind you, I'd been at this church for over 30 years. This is the only church I'd ever known. And I always joked that the Lord would literally have to kick me out before I would go because it's the only place I've ever been to. And he kind of did do a little bit of kicking, but that's another story for another day. So we were praying about it, about transitioning. It probably started in the summer of 2018. And my aunt and I, we would meet for intercessory prayer. And one day I was telling her about what we were feeling. But before we got ready to transition, it was always my prayer that we had somewhere to go. A lot of people, when they leave ministries, sometimes you ask them, well, where are you going? And they, oh, I don't know. I'm just being led of the Lord. I'm following the Lord. I was like, well, that's not going to be my story. I wasn't looking to hop around from church to church and just do all this visiting because that's how you mess around and get a spiritual STD. So I wasn't doing that. And so I began to ask the Lord, okay, God, you're calling us out. Where are we going to go? And I heard the Holy Spirit say, the Way Church. And I was like, the Way Church? I never heard of it. So, of course, I started Googling and I found this church in Granbury. And I was like, no, that can't be it. That's not the one. That's not my kind of noise. And so I kept Googling and I happened to stumble upon the Way Fellowship Church of Dallas's website. I began to listen to some of Apostle's messages and I was like, okay, I like this. This might work. This might work. And so I was telling my aunt about it and she was like, well, why don't you go and visit? Well, in my last ministry, I was, choir director. I was a minister on staff there. So sometimes going to visit or not showing up on a Sunday is not always something that you can do. But I was able to sit down and talk to my pastor, let him know, hey, I'm not going to be here this particular Sunday. I don't remember if I told him I was going to visit another church or if I just told him I wasn't coming. But it was the first Sunday in September of 2018, and I remember it so vividly. We pulled up on the parking lot. People are already walking in. I got out of the car with it was me, my son Austin, and my daughter Kaylee. Kyla was somewhere else, and Christy was out of town for work. And got to the door, opened up the door. Pastor Vincent was going in prayer. He was opening up in service. I mean, the man of God was going in. He was speaking in tongues. I was like, yes, all right, I'm liking this. I'm liking it. The praise team got up, and they were just absolutely phenomenal. And of course, I'm from the old school. So, when the praise team got done, I'm thinking the choir's coming. Well, they didn't have a choir. And I was cool with that. Apostle gets up and he was just starting his series about honor that particular Sunday. And his message was surrounded around how to leave another ministry honorably. And I knew then, I was like, Lord, he's talking to me. And he just began to lay out the foundation about how to do it when it's time to move. How to just do it with grace and do it in excellence. And I knew in that moment that he was speaking to me. So after service was over, I had an opportunity to talk with him for a brief moment after church. And of course, the first thing he asked me was, are you a preacher? I'm like, really? That's not what I came here for. I came here to get the word, And so we talked briefly. I left the service that day and I remember calling my wife. She was out of town in DC for work at that time. And I began to tell her what Apostle was talking about. And I told her, this is the confirmation that we're needing for what we've already been feeling. I said, there's no need to wait any longer. Once you get back into town, we're going to sit down with our current leaders and we're going to let them know what we really believe that the Lord is leading us to do and where he's calling us out. And so we met with them and we stayed through the end of September at my former ministry. And we started coming here to the Way full time in October of 2018. And it happened to be one of the best decisions that we definitely could have ever made. And then we officially joined in January of 2019. You ask Apostle, he'll tell you feel like me and Christy came here much longer than that. But it was only 3 months, Apostle, that we actually were coming before we officially joined. And with anything that we do, we certainly try to be faithful. So we were faithful in coming every Wednesday and every Sunday because we wanted to get a well-rounded view of what the ministry had to offer. And I was ready to join straight away. Christy wanted to wait until the first of the year. And so, I kind of complied with that. And we officially became partners in January of 2019. And I must say in the 5 years that we have been here, it has been amazing. I have grown by leaps and bounds spiritually and even personally. Christy has grown by leaps and bounds spiritually and even personally. Even our children have grown by leaps and bounds. And I'm just so thankful and so grateful that the Lord led us to this place. And I'm excited to see where God is going to take us in this next, in these next 5 to 10 years. Because one thing about Christy and I, once the Lord sends us to a place, we firmly believe in being planted, being rooted, and being grounded and growing and allowing the Lord to do what he desires to do. So, apostles, y'all are stuck with us because we found the way, and I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful that we did. Hey, it's time that you found the way too. So come on and join us one Sunday. We'll be glad to have you.